Smokies Edibles now has the real deal Delta 9 edibles on their website. Order them now. Smokies.com. That's SMOKIEZ.com. Use promo code LEGENDARY for a discount and get yourself some Smokies Edibles. Check them out. Bam.
Hey, I'm Bella Lexi, and I'm here for the Anthony Rogers Show, and we are about to walk into Chicago Exotica.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Sean from Smile Empty Soul here in beautiful St. Louis, Missouri at Firebrand Recording, which is a wonderful studio here, tracking our new record, Swan Song, which will start to be released one song at a time here in probably about June, and then the whole thing will come out at the end of the year. So keep your ears peeled for it and check it out when it comes out.
So I'm Dennis with the Anthony Rogers Show podcast. My question for you is, what would you do if you became president to help the working class?
Well, I think the principal thing right now is housing. That the price of housing is going up, and it's beyond the reach of most American families.
Along with oil and gas and food.
But inflation is hurting everybody. And inflation is more complex. I can't say that I'm going to stop inflation overnight. What I can say is that I'm going to stop the long-term cause of inflation. I'm going to unravel the war machine. I'm going to reduce dramatically healthcare costs by ending the chronic disease.
Hey, it's your favorite comedian, Anthony Rogers, live in his tour bus, yeah. But also, you need to get a beard like this. People have been talking. They said your shit looks whack. It looks weird. They can't tell your pronouns. You need to get a beard like this right now. And the only way to do that is by using Luxurious Bastard Beard Oil. Great smell, great function, great everything. Just get this. And there's directions on how to use it if you know how to read. But use the link in the description. Go to the website. Use promo code LEGENDARY. Get a discount. Do it. Thank you. Bam. Welcome back to the best podcast in the entire universe. My name is Anthony Rogers, as you can probably tell from the name of the show. You probably already knew that if you're watching that. But today we have a big episode. I'm hyped about this as a fan of just St. Louis and St. Louis radio. But I think it's bigger than this, because I think that show was probably on podcast charts across several countries. So it's not just, but it is local to St. Louis. So Tony Patrico, how are you doing, brother?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. It's weird having a longer beard than you right now. I think you've had a longer beard than me most of your career. I think it's weird seeing you with stubble.
Well, it's weird, the beard, and a lot of people thought like, oh, look at this dude. He's just rocking this crazy beard and everything. Dude, I was rocking that big ass beard because I was over 400 pounds, man. If I'm over 400 pounds, it doesn't matter if I have a beard that's down past my wiener, dude. It doesn't matter. Like, people are just gonna, I was doing whatever I could to distract people from looking at my 400-pound gut, brother. I mean, that was truly what it was.
Well, you look like a male model now, bro. What's the secret? What'd you do?
Male model. I don't know what magazines you're looking at, brother, but you need a new subscription. To be honest with you, man, back in 2018, I had weight loss surgery, dude, and it was the best decision I ever made in my life. It definitely is, everybody's going to say, oh, that's the easy way out, man. It's if that's the easy way out, I'm still waiting to see the easy way, because this shit still ain't easy, man. It helped jumpstart everything, but then you got to maintain it for the rest of your life. You could fall off just instantly like that and put all this weight back on. But, it's one of those things, dude, where it's something I needed to do. And if the easy way out saved my life, then yeah, of course, man, I'm going to take the easy way out every time.
I don't know if surgery is the easy way out. It sounds super fucking painful. Was that a crazy, it was like a gastric bypass, what are you saying?
So, yeah. So what ended up happening was, at first I had gastric sleeve surgery. And then after that, I developed this terrible acid reflux, which is common. It's things that happen. And they had to go back in and do, from a gastric sleeve, do a full gastric bypass. But ever since then, man, they did that. I mean, I'm down over 200 pounds. I feel better than I ever have. I don't have any of the issues I used to, as far as like acid reflux all the time. I'm almost positive because of my weight. I was, sleep apnea, not getting the sleep I needed to. But things are great, man. I feel healthy right now. I'm happy right now. And I lost a whole year of my life and I don't want to lose anymore. So it's one of those things where it's time to, regardless of what's put on my plate, I'm going to eat it, man. I'm going to rock and roll with life. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
No, I respect that. I respect that. And we were talking a little behind before this started. To address some things. I literally hate cancel culture. I can't stand that. I think you were, in my opinion, I think you were unfairly dealt with. I think it was completely. And I almost hate saying this, sounds like cheesy, but I feel that way. I feel like it was completely unfair, and the way you were treated. And to add some context to this and fill in wherever I'm messing up or something like that for people watching,
Yeah.
you were basically from my perspective, I'm not you again. You were asked to leave like a station for just basically talking to girls. Pretty much, it's and they were like, it's not like you're Jeffrey Epstein where they're like fucking 5 or something. I don't think you did anything wrong from a business standpoint. Maybe from like between your wife and you, that's your own thing. But from a business standpoint, that's insane to me for somebody to get removed for that or whatever terminology, and fill in anywhere I messed up.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, here's what it is. And this is the way that I can easily put it, in an analogy. Okay. For all those that do not know who I am, I did not get into any fight. This is just an analogy that I'm using as far as, how I kind of viewed things. Imagine I walk into a bar, I get into a shoving match. Okay. You shouldn't do that inside of a bar. You shouldn't get into a shoving match, but imagine that happens. I then leave the bar and I am immediately publicly executed with no trial and not allowed to give any statements at all. That's how it felt. I know you said, like, from the business side of things, you don't, think that it was right. And of course, there's part of me that doesn't think things were quote unquote right. But from the business side of things, from a business standpoint, I understand their decision. And I understand that, the team locally here, the team locally here, they had my back. And I am still very good friends with them. I see them and talk to them, every once in a while. So it's not like there's animosity there. Listen, man, the thing I continue to tell people is I made a mistake, man. I made a mistake. I fucked up, but I wasn't a monster or a predator or anything at all that I was accused of being. Once I got let go from the radio station, in total, from the moment I got let go to the radio station to today, right now, I was unemployed for 13 days. That's it. That's it. I wasn't going to let this affect me financially at all, and emotionally, to be honest with you, because sitting at home does absolutely no good for me. So I went right back into the workforce and I got hired at a car dealership, and orientation was Friday, and I got there on Friday, and the HR person told me that I was no longer employed there and I would have to move out of the city to ever find a job. And it was that moment where I was like, why? Like, I did not commit a crime. I was not arrested for anything. If you look back at any of the messages, whether they are 100% the legit messages, there were a bunch of fabricated messages that were made and put up as well. But if you look at anything at all, I was never mean. I never threatened anybody at all, and it's one of those things where I feel awful for whatever my actions were that made anybody feel a certain way about me. That is not what I wanted to do. That is not what I intend to do. The fact that I hurt my father's last name is something that I have to live with every day. And I know that may sound really cheesy to some people, but that's a huge thing for me. And it's something I have to deal with every day. But Anthony, I can't control 30 seconds ago when I was still talking. I can't control 9 minutes and 27 seconds ago when you first went live with this podcast. I can't control a thing about any of that, but I can control 60 seconds from now. I can control an hour from now, a day from now, a year from now. And that's what my focus is on, and I know I'm like spouting like this is all like, oh, rehearsed. But I've said this to so many folks that it just kind of comes out naturally now. But I have said the word sorry to folks, Anthony, so much that in my own eyes, that word doesn't mean shit anymore. So instead of saying it, I'm showing it. And the only way I can show it is what time I am given from here until they put me in the ground. I want to be a better dad. I want to be a better spouse. I want to be a better son, and I want to be a better person. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do each and every day. And that's all I can do moving forward. And I'm sorry I just talked for like 6 minutes straight, but you get me going, I get fired up, brother.
That's why I invited you on here, man. I didn't invite you just to not talk, man. So, but and to add context to people that may be outside of St. Louis, and I think your podcast, I think your show reached outside of St. Louis. What I'm saying, like people that may not know,
Yeah, for sure.
Patrico was a producer on 105.7 The Point in St. Louis, Missouri, and out of St. Louis, Missouri, and like podcast charts in several other places. So not just limited here, but like just and from my perspective, you're just hitting on girls, right? I mean, like that's probably bad for your girl, but like none of my business. None of the business you work for is business. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that that's how I feel anyway?
Yeah, I mean, it was conversations that, I mean, Anthony, you know the show, and for those of you that don't know the show, we were a very dude bro show. I mean, that's kind of what we did. You know, had a segment on the show where, you know, we asked people to send in pictures of them in a bikini, and we would guess if they're real or fake. And yeah, I mean, listen, dude, the show was fantastic. And to be honest with you, anybody that ever asked me, people are like, I bet you hate that show now. I don't listen to the show now, but I hope that those folks are massively successful, because radio is in trouble, and shows like the Riz Show and shows like, you know, podcasts like this is where this media is going to stay alive. So, you know, I hope they are successful, wildly successful, but it's one of those things that the way that our show was, and kind of the way that our show, I don't want to say necessarily kind of like gave off the aura, but I mean, it was dudes. And when somebody would reach out to me, it was a friendly conversation that I just I for sure should have cut off way sooner than I ever did. And I should have never entertained any conversations, from the smallest conversation of, you know, hey man, you lost a lot of weight. You're looking absolutely fantastic. It should have been a thanks, appreciate it, next. But, you know, I didn't, because I didn't want people to hate me. And the irony of it all is guess what? For at least a full year of my life, I thought everybody in the country hated me. And that's how it felt. That's really
I
truly
don't
how
think
it
it
felt.
was fair. I don't think that was fair to you. I mean, I think that's between you and your wife or girlfriend or whatever terminology, and no one else should even know about that. I think that's a situation you guys work out, from my perspective, and I think that was super unfair just to say publicly. I know I've told you this personally, but I'm just saying, to the thousand or so people watching cross platform now, and then the thousands that will watch later within a couple of days. I think that was a completely ridiculous witch hunt, and I think you're a very talented guy, and I think you're a good guy, and I think like you're being tortured for something that happened forever ago, and I think you've made amends. I think that I think you've made your peace. I think you are basically having to apologize about the same thing over and over again that you've already made peace with. You've already made cool. I feel like you've done everything in your power to be a good guy, to be a humble guy. You're not trashing your previous coworkers, which I respect that, to be honest with you.
Absolutely not, man. And I never would, because to be completely honest with you, Anthony, I mean, this is one of those things where locally, on the local level, these are all still my friends. These are all still people that if I needed anything in the world, I could reach out to them and I know they would be there. You know,
so that was
like
a
these
corporate
are
decision,
also,
you think, or?
Oh, I mean, for sure, man. It was a business decision. It was a business decision. And again, it's one of those things where from a business side of things, I cannot be mad at what was done. I can't be. And I'm not mad. And I would never be mad at my employer, because I put myself on the other side of things. If this is a company that I own, that I have stake in, and there is something, regardless of what that may be, in the chain that is causing problems, you're going to eliminate that chain, that link in that chain, and you're going to repair it with something else to make sure that that bond is strong. And that's what they did. And I understand that decision. I understand that decision.
I just don't think I love that you're that positive, but like from my perspective, and I'm not mad or angry, but I still think it was completely unfair to crucify somebody like that. And I think the people that come at you with these ignorant comments, I think you're way too good of a dude to have this like backlash and stuff. And I think you made amends. I think you continue to do the right thing. I think you continue to grow and not let it limit you. And I think that I just don't think it's fair to crucify somebody like that. And I don't think the people attacking you, I don't know if they still are. They seem like people seem like they back you again now. But I'm saying during that time, it seemed like a lot of people were coming at you, and like they couldn't have handled that scrutiny like whatsoever. They couldn't have handled 1% of the scrutiny you had to handle. And I hate cancel culture. You don't attack somebody's work, you don't attack their finances, you don't attack their ability to pay their bills, you don't attack certain things. You may disagree with somebody, you may disagree with like whatever. I mean, I don't think it was the most Christian thing to do, but I also don't think bankrupting somebody and getting rid of their, I mean, not necessarily you aren't bankrupt, you know what I'm saying. I don't think firing somebody is the best decision either. You're not Jeffrey Epstein, you're not P. Diddy, you're not doing these, you know what I mean? That's it kind of fucking disgusts me, to be honest with you, that they would let you go. And I'm not mad or anything. I think you brought a lot to that show, and I think you did a lot for St. Louis. And I think and outside of St. Louis too. It's based here. And I think that like I don't know, and we don't have to dwell on this, but I just want to address that because people would be so pissed if I didn't bring that up. And I don't want to.
Oh, dude, 100%.
We don't need to talk about that the rest of the show and stuff, but they'd be pissed.
No, dude. Listen, I 100% understand, and I want to talk to people about this. But that's the difference. Is I want to talk to people about this. I don't want to have to go onto Twitter. I don't want to have to go onto Twitter, and I don't want to log in and see a comment that says, dude, there was a comment that said, and I'm not looking for sympathy, and you know me enough, man, that I'm not looking for any sympathy at all. But there was somebody that was on Twitter, and I logged onto Twitter for the first time in months, man. I had shut myself off from social media. I logged in, and one of the very first messages that I saw that was sent to me, that all it said was, "I wish your cancer would come back and leave your children fatherless. They'd be better off." And I'm like, I understand being mad at me. I understand hating me, but to be
that's worse than what you did, dog.
To be so hateful, it blew my mind. I never want to violate or respect anybody's feelings ever again. So I've been very honest and open with everybody's feelings. And I've said, if you don't like me, my goal in life from here on is to give you every reason I possibly can for you to not like me, and go, okay, I don't have a reason why I cannot like this guy. Like I just can't. That's what I want to do, man. I want to give everybody every reason to have the hardest time ever hating me. That's what I'm trying to do here. And if you, at the end of the day, still don't like me, I respect that. If you don't want me around, I don't want to be around. You know what I'm saying? If my circle wants me around, then I want to be around. If this part of the world doesn't want me around, I don't want to go there. I want to be where I'm welcome, where I'm surrounded by those that love me and that I love back. And that's exactly what I want, brother. That's what I want for the rest of my life, man.
And I want to kind of address like the fact that like I loved like trolling you guys as a kid. I loved being the guy like so I'm coming from a standpoint where this is kind of out of character for me. I like to be honest with you, because I'm just being like a real person instead of like just like fucking with you or anything. And I think that like I used to love cranking the point.
Before you go forward, we've got to make sure that we let everybody know that you growing up, man, you gave some certain folks on the radio station absolute hell, man. It was like if we saw anything that said Anthony Rogers, we went, oh shit, here we go. So we've both grown up a little bit, partner. Yeah.
Well, that too. But I just wanted to bring it up to the fact that like I could roast people and do all this, but also when I see something wrong, I'm just like how that was handled is wrong. How the public handled your situation was wrong, in my opinion. And like I want to stand up for what's right, regardless of entertainment, regardless of comedy, regardless of just roasting people for the sake of roasting people. I think that like I just think it's fucking disgusting when people treat somebody like that on a platform. They're like, because you're not fucking Hitler, bro. You're like some shitty person like you. I mean, I don't know you that well, but you seem like a good. I could read people and stuff. You seem like a good dude that was put in a shitty situation, and like it kind of pissed me off. That's why I reached out to you, and I wanted to get you on here and stuff, and like just kind of explain explain to people that I just don't think it was fair, man, and like. And I don't like that at all. And like I said, I'll roast people. I have fun all the time. But I literally just think that was a disgusting situation. How the public handled that, from my perspective.
Yeah, it was awful, man. It was really awful. And I'll be honest with you, I deserved a lot of shit, dude. And I took it. And I took a lot of shit, man. It sucked. I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of people that I was in communication with.
They weren't your friends then, bro. They weren't.
You know what? You're right. You're right. You're very right. And there's a lot of stuff, brother, where like people say some hateful shit, and being alone when people say some hateful shit, it's really tough. Thank God for my really super close inner circle, man, because they stepped up. They were there. My family was there. The dudes from the show continuously checked on me. They were there for me. So, like, you know, there were some very, very, very positive things that happened. But brother, I'm telling you, man, it is very, very tough to continuously see people say shit about you. But I started to realize and started to see that it was a very vocal minority, man. The folks that supported me and that had my back, they maybe weren't necessarily as vocal as, you know, because they would post something and somebody would start to trounce on them and, oh, you know, you're just supporting they were calling me a predator, they were calling me a molester, they were calling me a monster, a sexual criminal, you know, like, and like that stuff is like fucking serious, man. Like that is like serious. And I hate that anybody even remotely would think that about me, more or less feel that that's how I treated people. And I hate that. I absolutely hate that. And that's why, again, I can't change what anybody thought back then. I can't change what anybody posted back then. The only thing I can do is give people a reason not to feel that way about me and just show people sorry. And that's kind of where I've been rolling with, man.
Yeah. No, I definitely just want to bring that up because people would flip out if I didn't bring that
Of
up and
course,
stuff.
brother.
And
Of
and like
course.
and not trying to rip the Band-Aid off or anything, but I like personally, I'm against like how the crowd reacted with that. I think that's a situation between you and your girl, and that's about it, man. I think that's something between you and your family, and nothing else, in my opinion. And everyone else, I mean, they couldn't handle your level of success. They couldn't handle the scrutiny that came your way after that. I think it's cowardice to attack somebody when they're down. I think you build people up. You build people up when they're down, and you bring them back and stuff like that. And I think, and I love making fun of everybody. I'm a guy who literally just loves insulting people and fucking with people. And I would never kick somebody when they're down. Is all I'm saying. I think that's fucking ridiculous. And I think from my perspective, I think you should only punch up, and and if somebody's down, you should help them up so you can make fun of them again. You know.
Dude, yeah, right, dude. And I'll tell you this too. And this is one thing that, you know, I will continuously say throughout this entire, you know, journey of me. You know, would I love to get back into radio? Yes, but regardless, if I do or if I don't, the one thing that I will continuously say is that if you Anthony, if you right now told me, you go, man, I fucking hate you, I'd go, man, I hate that you feel that way, but I understand and I respect that. If somebody does not like me, I completely get it. And let's say for whatever reason, Anthony, I do get another job in radio here in St. Louis and I get the opportunity to get back on the air and somebody goes, I'm just telling you right now, anybody that makes any post on anything that I'm on, that's like, fuck this dude, I'm not going to listen to him. I hate that you won't be listening, but I completely understand. And I get it. And I understand. And that's all I'm going to say. You know, that's all I want to do. That's it. I just want to live my life. I want the opportunity to show sorry and to just be the person that I want to be. Dude, the number one thing, well, I mean, I don't want to say the number one thing. I mean, I could go down the list, losing my house and all this shit. But like the number one thing that really affected me, man, was I love this fucking city. I love it. I absolutely love it. I did a ton for this city. I absolutely love this city. And to have, or to at least feel like the city hated you, it was miserable, man. It was absolutely miserable.
Yeah, I think you paid your punishment in more honestly than I think you deserved. And I think that's fucked up. And that's all we're going to talk about. That, like you said, we're not going to dwell on this the entire show. But I did want to address it
Yeah,
so
man.
people weren't like hit me up later on Snapchat and Instagram and everything. Like, why the fuck didn't you ask that a tough question?
Oh yeah,
But,
dude.
you know,
If I'm going to be on your
they would've.
podcast, brother, we got to talk about it, dude. We got to talk about it. It's life, man.
Yeah.
You want to talk to me about my life and about what I've done in my life experience? This is part of my life. As much as I would love to delete it from history and not have it be part of my life, it is part of my life. For the past 16 months, life with my fiance has been very up and very down. But you know what? In the end, we're going to be stronger than ever. And it's something that is a life experience. I can't delete it. I have to live with it. And now it's time that I take things back, and I'm taking back my life. I'm not going to stay inside. Like I said earlier, I lost a full year of my life. I didn't leave my house. I didn't eat. I was not healthy. It was terrifying. It was miserable. It's time that I at least give it my absolute best to show absolutely everybody who I truly am as a person. And that's all I can do.
I respect the accountability and humbleness. To be honest with you, I do respect that, and I do respect that you're being transparent with it and having the balls to talk about it. I think it's kind of a nerve wracking thing to talk to, like I mean, like a bunch of strangers online about it and stuff. But I mean, in good news though, you do have a podcast, your own Man Dad podcast. Like, how's that going?
Yeah. So the Man Dad Pod, I actually was just talking about talking with my fiance this afternoon about this. It sucked. Being on radio was my dream job. It's what I wanted to do since I was a little kid. It absolutely sucked that I lost the opportunity, but probably the thing that sucked even more than that was I took away something from my dad that he absolutely loved, man. And he absolutely loved being on the air. He loved interacting with all the listeners. He absolutely loved it. He came on the show every Thursday. When we would bring him out to events, he would get bigger applause than any of us on the show. It was insane, man. He absolutely loved it. And I, unfortunately, by my own fault, man, and again, this is something I'm owning, I took that away from him and it destroyed me. So I wanted to do something where I could still give him that opportunity to be John Patrico from the radio, St. Louis Pawpaw. So we started the podcast, and Man Dad Pod is me, my dad. My fiance is on there weekly. Sometimes we have my sister on, and it is us just bullshit, man. Sometimes 90% of the times it's just me trying to talk about things to get my dad riled up and try and spell words that he has no idea how to spell, to guess countries that he doesn't even know exists. We try and have fun, man. I try and keep the positive vibes on the podcast way up there. And it's just an opportunity for me to still do this. And I continuously say on that podcast, and then I also do a mental health podcast, I continuously tell everybody, if this helps absolutely nobody, it's helped one person, and that one person is me. So I'm going to continue to do it. So whether that's just me listening to it while I edit it, or if it's somebody that's in Australia listening to it and they just happen to hear me say something that clicks or resonates with them, or they go, man, I've been having a really shitty life and I've had a shitty go of things, but this dude went through a hell and he's still kicking. So maybe that's motivation for them. So it's one of those things where listen, I'm first to admit, we're not breaking records with download numbers. We're not, reinventing the wheel when it comes to radio innovations with our podcast, but we're having a lot of fun, brother. We're having a lot of fun. People are enjoying hearing my dad and hearing him go crazy. So it's an outlet for me, and I'm really enjoying it and having a blast with it.
Yeah. No, check out Man Dad Pond if you're watching this. If you want something else, your show is more put together than mine, and I respect that. I think you put a lot more effort into it, and it shows. And I think that and I think that in your first year, first year or two, you're doing really good with it. I think it takes a second to get a podcast going. I think so. I mean, the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. And I think
absolutely.
I like seeing that you didn't okay, for example, when Jerry Springer, this is a different situation, but you went from a political campaign guy.
Boy, we're going straight to Springer, huh? Oh boy.
No, but I mean, he got caught buying a prostitute with a check or something like that, and he turned into a smut lord. He turned into a smut lord with his bad press, where I think you would kind of return to values, and it almost challenged you to be a better person to yourself rather more than anybody else. And I like that you kind of went more wholesome, and you went into a situation where you return to values, and I think that's important for our country, and I think it's important for where we're at right now as a society. And I like that this almost challenged you to be a better person from my perspective as an outsider. And not to say you were a shitty person at first, but I'm saying but you were just that's a very wholesome concept to have a podcast with your dad, and I think that's a great concept. And I think that's something people need right now. I think we live in a fatherless society, to be honest. So I think 70% or something crazy the divorce rate is, and I think that I respect what you're doing rather than just become a smut lord with this. That you went into just kind of the Mr. Rogers route, the first Mr. Rogers, I think you went a good wholesome route, and it seems like it really challenged you to be a better person, or maybe make that good person inside you shine more so than I guess changing who you are. I think it just made the good qualities in you shine more,
Dude, absolutely. And again, one of the things that I constantly tell people is go back when all this was going on. When all this was going on, and my name, my dad's name, my reputation, everything was being blasted all over the internet. Did I go online and fight with anyone? Did I go online and plead my case? Did I go online and try and rally the troops? No, man. I didn't, because I
I respect
didn't
that.
feel like I should have. There was no reason for me to, the pain that I felt that I caused people. Why would I then just add gasoline to that fire? If people wanted to, like, I'm the type of person where if me and you got into it, we could be literally at each other's throats and I would be furiously pissed at you. But if you reached out a week later and you were like, hey man, let's chat about this, I'd take your phone call and we'd chat about it, because I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to hold a grudge against you and I'm not going to do anything like that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to give myself enough time to where I can immediately tell you to fuck off and I don't ever want to talk to you again. Or I can let myself cool down. I can think about things. I can give it some time and I can go, what is going to be the best way for me to handle this? There was every part of my bones and my fingers that wanted to hop online and start going, whoa, 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 don't say that. Do not, blah, blah, blah. But no, man, at that point, I didn't feel like I even had the right to do that, man. I honestly, people wanted me gone, and the ultimate sense of gone, and I was determined to not give them that. And for me, it was the only way that I knew I would get through all of this was to literally just take it. Was to take it. Because I continuously told myself, if you can make it through this on the other side, you are going to be able to live the life that you want to live, that you promised your kids, that you promised your gal, that you promised everybody around you. You're going to be able to live that life. And that's kind of the route I went, man. And that was the only option I had in my own head, at least.
No, I think that's I think it's respectable, brother. I think anybody can just become part of the darkness that's circling around them. I think it takes a strong man to be try to be the light. I think that's very strong, and more positive. Like, what are some of the coolest interviews you did? Like, what are some of the what are some of your best experiences, in the positive route of meeting somebody, who are your favorite rock stars, or what were some of your favorite interviews or experiences you had? I think that's the
Brother,
coolest side.
so listen, I'm almost 40, man. So like when music was popular and when I was the most influential age, Limp Bizkit was the jam, man. Limp Bizkit was my favorite band. Limp Bizkit is still my favorite band. I don't care how many people want to say Fred Durst is the biggest turd ever. Limp Bizkit's my favorite band. They came into town.
You
It was a
interviewed Fred
show
Durst?
they came to the town. It was a show at the pageant a couple years back. It was Limp Bizkit and MGK. MGK actually opened up for Limp Bizkit, and I had the
Wow.
opportunity to interview Fred Durst. Now, I was incredibly nervous, brother. Like, I mean, this was the most nervous I had ever been in my career. I had been in front of 20,000 people, with my shirt off, being stupid at 400 pounds. This was by far the scariest and biggest moment of my radio career. I had told the camera guy, I want this interview to at least go 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, give me an old, hey, how you doing? So I know 3 minutes are past, and then I'm going to end the interview. 17 minutes later, I ended the interview, and it was honestly one of the greatest experiences of my life, because when the camera shut off, the audio stopped recording, we got done taking our picture, Fred Durst looked at me in the eyes and he goes, brother, it is really nice to be able to chat with somebody who's a fan, because it actually proved that you give a shit. And that right there was the best compliment I've ever gotten in my radio career. It was the greatest moment that I've ever had in my radio career, and I absolutely loved it. That interview got picked up by like Limp Bizkit Portugal fan club, and it got like 100,000 views, and like started going around.
So
and like most of the comments, brother, my beard was longer than yours at that point during that interview, and most of the comments were about that. But dude, it was great. It was one of the greatest experiences I ever had in radio, and I absolutely love it.
No, I love that, man. I was a big fan of Limp Bizkit. I had the backwards Yankees hat too, the red Yankees hat.
Of course,
Also,
man. Of course.
I absolutely love Limp Bizkit, and I mean, I'd still listen to him. I think it's I think it's good. But I think you're right. It's that impressionable age. I think that kind of sets us up for that, and I think that's where I was too. I think Corn, Limp Bizkit, all that was like the shit when I was young. And I think that's an honor to be able to meet your heroes and kind of friend them. I think that's kind of a crazy thing with the jobs we have. that
Oh
we
yeah.
can kind of get in these circles with these people, because I'm talentless and I'm surrounded by rock stars all the time. It's crazy. Like it feels weird. I don't. It definitely feels weird to be in there, and that's cool. Fred Durst is huge, man. That's a big thing. He's coming
Brother,
back.
you
I think
hang
too.
out. Oh yeah. They're coming back to town. It's gonna be a great show. I'm stoked, brother. You hang out with a lot of rock stars, and I'm sure they talk to you about this. And I just want to clarify something for everybody that is curious. This is a question I always got when I was on the air. This is a question I still get to this day, and I'm just letting everybody know. Backstage is so boring. It is so boring, guys. It is not back in the 90s and the 80s and they're doing all that stuff, man. It is not that, brother. It is guys hanging around, eating food, and then going back to their bus to lay down. Here's the thing that a lot of people forget. All of your favorite, most of your favorite artists, if you are over the age of 30, most of your favorite bands, most of the singers and the bass player and the guitarist and the drummer, they're in their mid 40s, if not older. They don't want to drink after doing that. They want to go to bed. It is incredibly boring. Backstage is the people that you listen to on the radio. It's them sitting around drinking beer. That's it. It is not parties. It is not wild. Oh, that chick's got her top off and that guy's doing a keg stand. And I think at one point they had more liquid death waters backstage than they did alcohol, man. Like that's life nowadays, brother. That's life nowadays.
The only cultures I think that party are like the EDM scene, the metal scene, and the reggae scene. I think if you're in any of those kind of bands, they will get fucking trashed. But everybody else, like you said, the rock stars and stuff, they're not, man. They're heading to the next city, bro. Like they're just like
if you're going to a metal show, if you're going to a hip hop show, you're definitely going to smell a little bit of bud in the air. You're going to have a great time.
Weed, yeah.
It's going to be fun. If you go to an EDM show, there's going to be a lot of people on some designer drugs that you may think are not doing well, but just know they're having a great time and there are friends with them that are taking care of them. So, there are different levels of partying, but when it comes to music, dude, the rock scene, and I'm talking about the rock scene as in like your Papa Roaches, your Korns, your Rob Zombies, those dudes can still rock, but they are also old. I still play slow pitch softball. I play on Monday nights. It's Wednesday. I'm still hurting. I can't imagine them doing, this every single day, man. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. And I don't click with a lot of these guys, but I mean, I do do the cross promo and stuff. And but I'd say one of the big, I'd say the only rock star that's really my friend's probably Sean from Smile Empty Soul. I think he's one of my friends. But like the rest of these guys, I mean, I just have on my show and I love the cross promo and I love the banter and stuff. But I don't really like click with everybody. It's like, and I think that's a lot of like people too. I'm not like friends with all these guys, but I do hang out with a lot of them. Like, but it's like. It's like I don't feel that click with a lot of people, like because I'm just kind of I'm my own kind of person. I think they are too. I think it's and I think that they're not. Most of them aren't partying. Like Black Dahlia Murder was getting really stoned, like you said. That the metalheads are always getting really stoned. Reggae guys are fucking always fucked up. Like those guys are crazy.
Dude,
the reggae,
even the white reggae dudes, man, like Dirty Heads. Dirty Heads, man,
Dude,
those dudes are wild. I absolutely love it, man. And it's crazy. I'll tell you what, you go to any of those reggae shows are the type of shows where even if you don't enjoy the music, it's so pleasant that you can still have a great experience, even if you're not a fan of reggae music, because you're not going to go in there and go, damn, this is super, super offensive. It's reggae music, man. People just want to be happy at a reggae show. Every once in a while, they'll sing something political, but you're like, I'm pretty sure that dude just talked about world peace, but I'm not sure because he referenced getting really stoned, and I'm down with that too. So it's reggae is one of the best music to go to a show, dude. It's awesome.
Dude, watching girls hit on musicians are funny too, because like they'll literally be just like trying to ask. Like I've watched so many times, like they're trying to hit on these dudes and be like, oh, what kind of bands do you like? The guys are just like, oh, stuff you've never heard of, like just trying to be like elitist and stuff. They have like no idea how to talk to girls. It's hilarious. Like I love seeing that. And like it's not like that. Like you said, it's not like the '80s. I think that's a good point too, because like I've had backstage stuff to a lot of different concerts, and like I would always tell my mom, I'm like, man, it's not like I'm meeting Kurt Cobain or something. It's like I don't even really care about a lot of these guys. I'm old. Like I'm almost 42. I'm also I'm like 30, almost 38 exactly. Like next month. But so it's like my heroes are fucking done already. It's like most of the guys I grew up listening to are fucking done, and it's like this new genre stuff. And I respect the new stuff, and like but it's like I'm not really like hyped. I don't get like nervous anymore. Like Fred Durst would make me nervous, like you're saying, probably because I was a big Durst fan too.
Oh yeah,
Like
dude, for sure.
Jordan Belfort probably did. Like Sublime with Rome probably did. Like, a couple of those guys like kind of made me nervous. But like it's just, I mean, if you're doing it, you were doing it more than me probably. So I just got in the door, bro. You've been doing this for like
Yeah.
you were doing this for most of my childhood probably even. So I think that it kind of wears off after a while. And people are just people, and like whoever you click with, you click
That's
with.
the thing, man. You just nailed it. You just nailed it. You just nailed it. Because if you really take a step back, brother, this is just a dude with a job. And you're just asking him questions about his job, man. And you know what the easiest way to do, man? And I'll pass this along to you, and you could use this every time, okay? You could do this absolutely every time. And this is one of the things that I absolutely love is ask them if they were in charge of a festival, what are their 3 bands that they would build that festival around?
That's a great question. That's a great
because
question,
based on their answers, you then can build a whole bunch of other stuff, man. Because if you're interviewing, you're interviewing Corey Taylor, okay? And that dude's not going to give you answers that is a band like Slipknot, a band like Slipknot, a band like Slipknot. That dude's going to throw some old school in there. He's going to throw some Air Supply, and you're going to be like, what? And you're going to be like, all right, dude, tell me about Air Supply. Why do you have such a fascination with Air Supply? The next thing you know, you and him are talking about yacht rock. And you're like, how the fuck did this happen? Because he's a person. He's a dude. He just happens to be a really cool and massively successful dude, but he's just a guy. So treat him like he's a guy. Treat him like he's your friend, and especially in an interview scenario, like something like this, or even interviewing a band at a concert or a festival, the object is to have the listeners learn more about them. Well, what better way to have the listeners learn more about them than by you learning more about them? So just go into it with, this dude's awesome. I know a little bit about this guy, but I want him to tell me more. Because yes, of course, man, Corey Taylor's going to hate the question, why does Slipknot wear masks? He's going to hate that question. But what he is going to love is he's going to love a question about, hey, man, I remember you do a little bit of research. I remember last time you were in St. Louis, everybody was wearing this mask and you had on this mask. You've retired that mask since. What happens to the masks that you retired? Do you collect them all? Are they put in a place where you're going to auction them off? Da-da-da. Those are the type of questions that dude wants to answer, because it's something different. It's something they've never answered before. So that's exactly a question that they would love to absolutely answer.
No, that's a damn good question, bro. That's a damn good question for rock stars and stuff. And
that was like my go-to at Point Fest, man. That was my go-to. It was any band that I didn't really know anything about, like interviewing Chevelle, interviewing Breaking Ben, Seether, 3 Days Grace. I could do that. I'd sit down and we'd talk like we were friends. I didn't even have to do any homework at all. But I remember one time I interviewed a band called Bad Sons. And Bad Sons is a band that was like a UK band that had a quick hit that we played, and they were at a Point Fest, and I had nothing to talk to them about. So I said, if you guys could pick 3 bands to build a festival, who would it be around? And they are like an indie rock band, and they were picking death metal bands. They were picking Swedish speed metal bands, and it was incredible. It was a great conversation. We didn't really talk much about the band. The listeners probably didn't learn a whole much about the band, but it was entertaining because I got to learn about them a little bit. And my genuine wanting to learn about them translated on the camera, and it made it interesting to those watching the video.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I think that's a solid question. And no, my problem is I always I'm so inquisitive like you are. I assume that I mess up the interviews prior to going live. Like I'll have this person like I've been wanting to talk to forever on here, like and I'll ask all these fucking great questions. I'm just curious. I'm like, oh shit, I need to.
Yeah,
so I have like a habit of like not even talking to these guys. I'll try not to talk to them before. I'm like yeah, I just don't want to ask you any questions right now, as I'll fuck up the entire show. And like it's hard not to. I'm a fan really of everything at this point. It's like I just love like learning, and I love like and we have some weird guests. I mean, we'll do like we'll do anything from like porn stars, rock stars, and all these like kind of like coast to coast like guests where they're talking about like near death experiences and shit. And then yeah, I'm just like I'm just a nerd. I'll sit here and just like nerd out and ask questions to all these like brilliant people that this gives you a platform to. I mean, that's
another challenge. That's another challenge and I've fallen victim to this as well, man. Sometimes you get so involved listening to them, you forget that you have to ask them another question. So afterwards,
Yeah.
when they answer, it's a lot of this, and it's like the Chris Farley skit when he's interviewing Paul McCartney on SNL. It's a lot of,
I love
ah,
that.
man, that's awesome, and you feel like the biggest dipshit ever. But it's you have to, because you're allowed to be a fan. Like, that's one thing that I always understood. Like, I wanted to be super professional, but the reason that I had so much passion in what I did was because, first and foremost, I'm a fan. Like, I'm a fan of this music. I'm a fan of, like, I mean, I no longer work for the radio station, but I'm such a fan of music. I went to Point Fest last weekend, man. Like, and I went to a show as a fan for the first time in 20
What
years.
was that like? What was that like after, like, you were in the industry for like 20 years, you said? Like,
Yeah,
what was
man.
that like going as strictly a consumer? What was that like?
A little bit of everything, man. I was,
Was it weird not being backstage and being in a seat? Was that kind of
no,
weird?
no. That part was not weird. Not being backstage was not weird. Not being on the stage entering the bands was not weird. It was just weird being there, not knowing that I was there. I was not there for work. It was just weird
Yeah.
being there, knowing that I didn't have a schedule, knowing that I didn't have anything to do. If I wanted to watch a band, I could watch a band. If I didn't want to watch a band, I didn't have to watch a band. So it was one of those things where it was bittersweet, man. I really, really enjoyed, and I absolutely loved the fact that I got to go and see some of my old friends from the radio station. Surprisingly, a lot of people came up. I took photos with folks. A lot of people came up and gave me a hug and told me that they missed me. A lot of people said that they were just happy to see me because they didn't know what had happened to me. So that was very nice.
That's awesome.
I know there were some people that stared. I know my lady said that she saw one couple walk by and a guy go, "That was Patrico," and his wife went, "Sure was," and like gave kind of a shitty look. And that's fine. We're gonna get that. But again, it was overall positive, man. It was great being there from a fan perspective. For the first time, I got to actually step back and go, holy crap, the amount of work that behind the scenes goes into this show. And me seeing it from this side of things is remarkable, man. It's remarkable. But it was nice to finally be getting back out there, going to shows. Hell, man, like I said, I did nothing for almost a full year, and now I've been to 3 shows in 2 weeks, so like, it's nice to get back out there. And I've said this on my podcast. I'll say it on your podcast. If you ever see me out and about and you're always like, "Oh my God, I think that's Patrico," please come say hello. Like, it's not like I don't want to talk to you. Don't think that like, "Oh, I'm giving him his space." If you want to say hi, please come say hi. If you want to come up to me and go, "Hey man, what are you doing now with your life?" I would love to tell you what I'm doing with my life. Like, I hold no animosity towards anybody. I don't. Some people, one guy came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, I wanted to say hi. I feel bad. I didn't know if you wanted to talk to anybody. I don't want to bring up radio, but I miss you." And da-da-da-da. Dude, I love that. I love it. Please come say hello to me. I want to talk to folks, it's much better than the that I get from some folks. Like my lady every once in a while is like, "I want to go up to that guy and say, 'Yeah, it's him. You could come say hi,' or tell him to fuck off. Whatever you want to do. Yes, you can come do that." So come say hey, come say hello, come say what's up. I love that. And even if you have questions for me, come ask me the questions. Obviously, if a band's playing, I don't want you to come in my ear and be like, "How was everything when you were," but like, come talk. I would love to talk to everybody, man. That's what I did for a living. I like to talk.
Yeah, it's basically the job, right? People always act like this is like hard or something. I don't, and all it is talking. Like, like they're always like, "I don't know if I could do that," and I'm like, "Well, you're doing it right now." It's like,
I always tell people
like,
this is not hard. I always tell people radio is not hard. I always tell people podcasting is not hard. Everybody and anybody can do it. Now, what is hard is getting really goddamn good at it. That's hard. That's really
fair.
hard.
Like, I was last year. I was flying to like Maui to do a show, and the lady next to me is like, "Oh, I can never do comedy. It's really hard." I'm like, "Well, this is the worst part, flying over the fucking ocean for 6 hours. Like, I'm terrified of flying." So it's like, I think that's the worst part, is traveling and comedy. But it's the same thing as like podcasting and radio. It's where you're just talking and having a conversation with people. It's like very, Yeah, no, this is like, I think the hard part is like sitting in a job you hate for fucking 60 years or however long people work. And I think that's the hard part of life. I think this is, we're lucky enough to do what we want for a living. And I think that like I wasn't always, I had to work a bunch of bullshit jobs too. I mean, but I'm just saying like, yeah, I think this is, what is this? It's only hard if you take a blue chew beforehand.
That is a true statement. That is a true statement.
That's fucking hilarious.
Is
Like,
Blue Chew a sponsor of yours or no?
not yet, man. I need to reach out
Well, they
to them,
should
bro.
be. Get on those boner chewies, man. Get on that.
I think I have every weed company as my sponsor at this point. That's pretty much what.
We need to have a conversation.
Yeah, no, definitely. The Missouri weed companies love me, bro. But so okay, what was where are we going from here? Where are you going from here? Like as far as like what are your plans as far as like an entertainer and stuff? Like what are some of your like goals, I guess, and like where do you see your podcast going, or Patrico as like a brand or person? Like where do you see it going from here?
You know what, man? This is probably and God's honest truth here, man. The past 2 weeks has been the first time that I've kind of sat down and said, what am I going to do next? Right now, listen, and my life is transparent now, brother. Like I've told myself from here on out, my life is going to be lived in transparency and it's an open book. So right now I'm working in sales. I work in like sports advertising. It's a fucking blast. And it turns out I'm a really good salesman, man. So like I'm having some success here. I want to first and foremost be able to provide for my family, no matter what that may be, no matter how the avenue takes me. Providing for my family is my number one goal. I said to myself, my number one goal in my life is to be able to give the opportunity to my lady to not work. And I had that and I fucked it up. So I'm working as hard as I possibly can to promise her that, to get her that back, because I know that that's something that she really wants. So that's what I'm doing. As far as me as a brand and the podcast, like I mentioned before, I'm going to continue the podcast because I like doing it. And if others like doing it, then I really hope that they tell their friends about it and their friends tell their friends and their friends tell their friends. The one thing I'm not, holding out hope for is that it gets picked up or that, it's on, if that happens, great. But I'm not going to spend precious time and energy right now on that. If somebody called me and wanted to talk about radio and a possible position in radio, I would absolutely 100% listen to that conversation and weigh my options and go from there. For the first time in my life, I'm kind of able to do something the way that I wanted to do it. This is probably a little too much information and probably a little quote unquote darker, but like growing up, I was one of those people that I did whatever anybody wanted me to because I grew up the fat kid. I always had friends, but I felt like I always had to work for them really hard. And I always had to prove myself to those friends. I know I didn't have to, but that's how I felt. That's how I felt my whole life. I've always worked as hard as I possibly can because, again, I didn't want to give anybody a reason to find something they didn't like about me, about my work ethic, about anything. And that's kind of what I'm going to keep on doing, I guess you could say. But it's one of those things where I always I was a people pleaser. I'm still a people pleaser. I overbooked myself ungodly when I worked on the radio, man. There were times where especially when I was working for the Blues, doing the DJ stuff for them, there were times where I would get up at 3 a.m, drive from Wentzville to downtown, work until noon, drive from downtown to Wentzville, drive back downtown at 4 o'clock, work until 11 p.m., drive back to Wentzville, and get up and do the whole thing over again. So like, I sacrificed a lot because I always said yes. I always said yes. I have the opportunity right now to say no. And for the first time in my life, I've said no to a couple things. And I'm very, very happy with what I'm doing and kind of my progression with things. But I guess to answer your question, a long way to get there. I would love to somehow make my way back into the radio, whether it be a part-time thing, a once a week thing, a morning show, an afternoon show, whatever it may be. I would love to make my way back to radio. But if that doesn't happen, Anthony, that's okay. Because I'm going to find another way to be impactful on this planet while I'm here, because I'm the type of person where that's my life. I always want to make sure that I can do the most while I'm here. And while I may have gone off that path a little bit, I'm back on it, man. And I've been more motivated than I've ever been before. And I have to have that mindset to get me through all of it.
Yeah, no, I like that, and I think you may find looking back that this all happened for a reason. Where like I think podcasting's bigger than the radio at this point. And I think that maybe you'll find that your show might be bigger, and you might get bigger opportunities with what you're doing on the path you're on. Because like I think just you're always just going to keep getting better, and you got to go from like 2 people to 20 people to 200 people to 2,000 people. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. I mean, you probably do. 'Cause you're more seasoned, but I think like a lot of people listening to this may not understand that you have to have 2 people listening for 20, and 20 before
Right,
200.
of
You can't
course.
just like you can't get discouraged at that. Oh, there's like some platforms I'm on. I got like 10. I got like on Twitter or something like that. I got like 10 people watching on Twitter. Then I'm just like, oh god, I need like why don't I have hundreds or thousands like the other platforms?
Yeah,
But
man.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
like but I think that like I think that's very important. You have to have the 20 people for the 200 and the 2,000. It's just a process, and I think that you're kind of finding your own process. And I think your show is really well. I mean, you were the producer, so I mean, you have a really well produced show and put together show with like I mean, you're a lot more game oriented, which I think I wish I thought like that. I'm kind of a minimalist, and I wish I thought more complex stuff because I'm kind of a guy just opens his laptop and just mumbles and shit. You know, like where like I think that I think that you have more of a product, and I think that as it continues to grow and stuff like that, you may find that this pushed you forward and saved you from like a dead end eventually, at least. Because I think
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and I don't even want to say that about radio because I like a lot of guys in radio and stuff too. But I'm saying like that might ultimately end up being a dead end. Like the Rizzuto Show is probably one of the only shows that's an exception to that in this market, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm not trying to start anything, but I do think that's one of the few shows that I hear people even listen to, like radio wise. And I think you may find that this may have saved you long term. It may have sucked for like a year or two, bro. But I'm saying like this, you may find that this is like the future, man, and you may get bigger than you've ever been. Like just, I mean, you already have the base. I mean, you just got to get back out there and people find out it's there and stuff. And you already have the base. I mean, it's just a matter of time before it picks up and then snowballs, really, from my
Yeah,
perspective.
I mean, obviously, I would have loved to have things work out a little bit differently. I mean, clearly, but dude,
Yeah, yeah.
this past year, I have been the best dad that I've been, since my kids were born, dude. I have weekends now. I get to do things with them. Before even, you have weekends off, but like, especially in the radio world, like I have to be at this bar at this time, or DJ this wedding, or do this event at this gas station at 3 o'clock. Well, it's not just 3 to 5. It's, you got to be there at 2:30 and you're there until 5:30. And then there's the drive time. So I just lost 4 hours with them. So like I obviously, again, I wish things panned out a little bit differently, but actually spending some quality time with my kids and really being a dad and really having time to focus on me being a halfway decent person, being the best, spouse I could be and stuff. That is something that I definitely have cherished over the past year. And it's something that I've definitely learned from, man. It was a great opportunity for me to go, hey dude, you are now free. You are now able to do cool stuff with your kids. Go do it. So I did, and I took advantage of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As much as like pain and crazy shit you've been through, I think it's always rewarding at the end of the suffering. You know, I think it's always and like I have a very different situation where like my mom was sick for like 4 years, and I feel like and tragically she passed. But I'm saying like and it sounds dark and weird to say this, but it's like I feel like I'm almost being rewarded for all my suffering at this point in my life now, like to where like just being there and like helping and not running away from it, not like and just kind of managing it all mentally. I think in a totally different situation. But I feel like the more suffering you go through, more of a man you become. And I think that and I think that's what I'm seeing with you in a wildly different situation, but
And you
same
want to know why
result
that
to
is,
where
Anthony? Yeah, you want to know why that is? It's because
go on.
all of the mental struggles and all of the pain that you put yourself through during the entire time that your mom was struggling, the entire time that you had to watch the person that was, if not the one of the most important people in your life, you had to watch them struggle, the person that took care of you and raised you and made you the person you are today. You watched them struggle. And what that did was it made your brain go, you have two options. Option one is let this make you crumble. And option two is let all of this pain and this struggle be worth something. And that is exactly the route that you chose. I've seen many people choose the other route, man, where it's completely wrecked them. They have not been able to recover, even though they say that they are fine and they go to work every day. You can see that they are not okay. But what you did was you took all that pain, you took all that struggle, and you said, I'm not going to let this hell that I just lived through be for nothing. I've got to take this and go, I can use this to show myself, to show others that I can get through anything. And if anything else, at the end of this, it's going to make me be stronger. And even if it's not, it's going to convince me. My brain is going to trick me to go, you're pretty strong, man. You can do this. You're stronger than that. And then it's going to work out for you, man. And that's exactly what you did with that situation. It's exactly what I'm trying to do with my situation. I could have easily let this be the end of me, whether it be the end of me for real or be the end of me for, I'm just going to run away from my life. I'm going to run away from everything. But I didn't. I said, if this happened to me, I got to take this. I got to learn from it. I got to grow from it. And I got to be the best person I can be. And that's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm at. And that's where you're at. And that's awesome, dude. It's awesome to see it, brother.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like obviously I miss her and stuff to it, so I don't want to get that confused. But it's like my life is way easier than it was like watching that whole thing where I used to have to feed my mom and then go downstairs and interview Tommy Chong. You mean I would work from her house sometimes, and like
Which is a rad experience, which is a rad experience, right? A super rad experience that you powered through because you knew that you didn't want to pass on this super rad experience, but you also knew your priorities, man, and you were also there for the people that you love. I have it tattooed on my body, man. Only surround yourself with those that are as strong as you, and that is exactly what you did right there, man. And that's a cool experience that. Maybe in the time you didn't want to do it. Maybe in the time it wasn't the coolest experience because you had a lot on your mind. But in the end, it probably turned out pretty rad, didn't it?
Well, it made me into who I am, and it made me like where I'm able to have conversations with guys like you in weeks like I've had this week. It's like I think I've made a lot of my childhood heroes my friends and stuff like that, and I think that's and like what I kept saying the whole time is why be poor and sad when I could just be rich and sad, and I think that
Yep.
I think that's the whole thing, and I think that's kind of what I think I see in you is that fighter mentality, and that's why I brought it up originally. Is I think that it's that fighter mentality. Like anybody can be good when life is easy and it's handed to you on a platter and everything's like that. But like it takes like real strength to be like, man, I just had the fucking worst day ever, but I'm still gonna entertain these people. I did 20 states last year, bro. Like on comedy, I fucking like, and that's not the point. But the point is like, the point is I'm just gonna be fucking. You know what I mean? You're gonna fight no matter what. And I think that's like the same thing you're doing regardless of what hand they give you. Because like I couldn't imagine. I mean, I've had public scrutiny too, and this is funny too. I wanted to bring up to you, I hate cancel culture so much. Like 10 years ago, the Riverfront Times called me fucking racist, and today they went fucking bankrupt. So I think I'm fucking rich and they're bankrupt. I love that fucking feeling. You know what I mean? I'm fucking rich and they're bankrupt. Everyone that called me racist is fucking broke, and I love that shit. And I shouldn't, as a Christian, I shouldn't. I should forgive, and I forgive to a degree. But my competitive nature is like, you know what I mean? It's like you tried to fuck me over when I first got into comedy, and now I'm rich and you're fucking bankrupt. And that's how I feel about it, And that's, I mean, and I think you could say the same with your kind of fight mentality too. Like all the people that shit talked to you, all the people that thought you couldn't do shit and like fucking wanted to jump on some bandwagon that's easy to fucking hate on people that are in the public eye. I think you're gonna be very surprised where it takes you, bro. I think you're gonna be very, very surprised where this whole thing takes you, and maybe not. Maybe you knew it the whole fucking time. But I think a lot of people are gonna be very surprised. You may not be surprised, but a lot of people are gonna be very surprised in where your energy takes.
Well, I hope so, man.
Mentality.
I hope so, brother.
I think I believe it, man. I think that you're gonna. I think you got that energy, man. You got that, and like someone was saying in the name's ridiculous. Harry Conrad. I read that wrong. Right. He has the attitude you have to survive something like this, and I completely fucking agree with that. That's my buddy Whitney. It's his real name, but I completely fucking agree with that.
I appreciate
and I think
that,
you have
man.
that. You have the positivity, and I kind of envy the aspect of your positivity. I wish I was more positive because I'm kind of a bitter person, and I'm kind of an angry kind of person as I quit smoking weed and stuff. But I think, I love your positivity, and I love that you don't take this out on people. You don't hold grudges. You don't seem like that. And I love that aspect, and that's going to take you everywhere. Your positivity and your work ethic, and your team. It seems like around your family, all that's going to take you where you need to be, man. And I believe in the comeback, man. That's what I told you when I first hit
Dude,
you up.
my circle is strong, homie. It's super strong, and they're definitely, if I didn't have them around me, I wouldn't be as motivated to do this type of stuff. I wouldn't be as motivated to get back out there, to keep putting up content. I mean, they've had my back. I mean, my buddy has continued to, you know, be on us about pushing out the music stuff. So we're still doing music stuff. I'm doing, you know, more content on TikTok. I'm putting out playlists and videos, and, you know, like, this is all because people have said, like, man, you need to do this, like, do this stuff, keep doing this stuff. So, you know, the support system has been there, and, like, you know, talking to you, and I know it's been a long time coming for me jumping on this with you, but, like, you were there, man, and you listened to me rant when you had you didn't have to, but you listened to me rant, and you were there, and had great advice for me as well. So you were an ear that definitely I appreciated, and you're part of that circle, man. So I really do appreciate that, because without my circle, I would have been an absolute disaster, brother.
It pissed me off when I saw that. When I saw people go after you, it really pissed me off. Like, and I'm a person that makes fun of everybody. I'm a fucking comedian, man. So I make fun of everybody. And it pissed me off when I saw that. I'm like, you're going through. I saw your struggle, and I'm like fucking. That made me livid, to be honest. Where I reached out to you, and I think the first thing I said, I'm like, hey, you ready for the fucking comeback, Patrico? You know, I mean, I was fucking
that
pissed,
was
man.
exactly, that was exactly what you said, dude. Your exact text to me was, I'm excited to see your comeback. And I was like, whoa, man, like, this is somebody that at least who is out there that sees that I have a potential to maybe get back out there. And I mean, we knew each other, but it's not like, you know, we talked every day. It's not like we talked every year.
Right.
Hell, you know, we knew each other. So you didn't have to do that. It's not like you were inside of that personal close-knit group that one guy has, you know, but you did that. And that was something I needed at that point. You know, it was something I definitely
pissed me off
needed,
seeing it, bro.
was that message. Yeah. And again, listen, I've said this before, and I will say it again. I definitely, I mean, obviously I minded, but I didn't mind seeing the messages from people that had a legit, like, this guy said this to me and I didn't like it, whatever. Like, if they had a legit gripe about me, I listened to it. But the folks that just jumped on, that were not involved in any of the situation, that didn't have any of the information, that just were hating on me because they didn't like me on the show, like, that shit was outrageous to me. But
fucking cowardly.
It's one of those
fucking cowardly.
It's one of those things
in
where,
my opinion.
but still, I don't want to discount anyone's feelings to where
Fair.
I accepted it all, man. I accepted it all.
You're a better
you know?
man. You're a better man than I am, Patrico. You're better.
Don't,
you're a better
don't
man
say
than
that.
me.
Don't say that, man.
I'm just saying you're a better man.
From Wentzville, Flash Peevely. So don't be making me no better man, brother.
I'm just saying your outlook on that
dude.
makes you a better man.
Yeah. I'm a struggling white dude with a shitty rap career too. So put that on the list of accolades as well.
Well, at least you're humble, and the humbleness makes you better too. And it pisses me off when I see people go after people that, like, when they get beaten down. I literally can't fucking stand that. Like, that is not a virtue. That is not strength. It is not anything. And you need it. I cannot fucking stand when that mob mentality went after you. It pissed me the fuck off. And like I said, like, I mean, when I was a kid, I fucking pranked all you motherfuckers. I talk shit to all you guys, and I do it. Once you get back, I'll be doing it again, bro. But I'm just saying, it pisses. I'm just joking.
I don't doubt that. No. I don't doubt that at all. I don't doubt that at all, buddy.
But it pisses me the fuck off when I see somebody down on their fucking luck and being beaten down by a mob mentality. I fucking hate cancel culture. It's like, you don't go after someone's fucking work. You don't go after their fucking house, their fucking family, their finances. That scumbag fucking mentality, and it pisses me off when I see that shit. And then you got to stand up to these people. The fucking mob will make everybody fucking homeless. You know what I mean? They think they're only going for entertainers right now. They're gonna be going after grocers and fucking lawyers and fucking Uber drivers. It's like, no one's gonna have a fucking job in the future. We let these fucking idiots do it, man. And it pisses me off when I see that shit. And I want to see everybody win at this point in my life, you know. And I want to fucking, like, that's where I'm at.
And also, dude, it's one of those things too where, like, okay, so the mission or the plan was to get me off the show. So I was let go from the show. Then everything should have went away, right? Like, that was the mission. Okay, they got what they wanted. Here you go. You've got what you wanted. But that it didn't go away, man. It only got worse. And it got worse for a while, you know? So, like, it was one of those things where I'm like, I can't win. I didn't say anything. I accepted everything. I took it on the chin. I sat back and I just accepted it all. And I just was like, they wanted my job. They got my job. And then I started seeing the things that people wanted my life, and they wanted me, you know, I'm like, this is insanity to me. And at one point, it was like so outrageous that I even took a step back and was like, this can't be real. Like, this can't be real. There's no way. Like, I can't believe that. I mean, people were putting letters into my mailbox at my house. I was in my garage as an unemployed man smoking a joint at like 3:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. And somebody drove by my house, honked the horn, and flipped me off as they drove by.
I'm sorry.
My home, dude. My home.
That's creepy as fuck.
It's
But
insane,
the way the way your story, the actuality of it's fucking nuts. But the storytelling aspect of that's fucking
position.
funny.
Yeah, you put yourself in. You could live that scenario. Yeah, I know, man. It was insane.
No, that
insane. But
your
that was
delivery
rare,
makes
dude.
that
That was
funny.
super rare. Yeah, that was super rare.
Your delivery makes that a joke. Your delivery makes that a fucking joke, though, bro. I know it's creepy as fuck, but like in all actuality, contextually speaking, that's ridiculous. But your delivery and that shit made that a fucking like Bert Kreischer like joke, bro. And I think that's funny. I think your delivery is funny, but that's insane. Yeah, no. And people want to talk shit no matter what. I don't give a fuck anymore. It's like, it's just like it's like these people couldn't handle what your criticism or scrutiny you were held to. You know what I mean? Like, let's go fucking look up this guy that has no fucking profile picture, like fucking talking shit under a fake name. It's like, dude, you don't even like yourself, man. They're just projecting onto you. You know, it's a psychological projection of their insecurities onto you. It has nothing to do with you. And they hate anybody. They hate anybody in the public eye, man. You just happen to be living your dream, and they're too afraid to live their own dream, and they can't challenge it and create their own business or anything like that. So they just fucking sit back and take the easy way out and talking shit. And as a guy who talks shit for a living, it's cowardly if you're not doing it for a living. Like, you know, it's like,
and dude, I see the comment right there. The comment, what stinks is when people hate you when they don't even know you. Okay. And that is true, man. Like, there was a lot of people that immediately jumped to hating me. And the only thing they know about me is that from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., I made noise out of their speakers. That's the only thing they know about me. That's the only thing they knew about me. But they were real quick to make a decision and real quick to make a judgment. And they have no idea who all they know is the guy that was on the radio, which we shared a lot of our personal life. But I could share all of my personal life with you right now. And that still doesn't necessarily know that you're going to know who I am. You know, so it's like that was another thing that was like, man, this guy, you know, Squiggly Tits 482 on Twitter hates my guts and doesn't even know me. And doesn't even know me.
They hate themselves. They hate themselves, you know? and they project it onto you. That's what it seems like. That's what I started to realize when you're dealing with like thousands of people like shit talking or happy or whatever. Like, the people are like, "Oh, you're brilliant." They're actually the smart people, and the people are like, "Oh, fuck you, you're this." They're the terrible people. They're toxic, and they're all projecting whatever they are. And I think that I believe in the comeback, man. I believe in the comeback. I want to see what you're gonna do, man. I believe in that, and I want to see what happens. And like And before we get out of here, man, I could kind of read the room, and I think we've been here a while, but I think you got more important things to do than go backwards in your career and talk to me. But I think that
no, man,
no,
dude,
I think
don't even start, brother. Listen, I've enjoyed this thoroughly, brother. I've enjoyed this thoroughly, man. I will for sure join you again on this podcast, man. I absolutely love this.
Well, I'll sign the probation papers for you, and I'll make sure you get the full credit for being here and everything. But no, I was like, I used to actually love, like, the point is such a part of my childhood. I used to love riffing with those guys, man. Like, you worked with some of the funniest motherfuckers ever. I mean, I think Rizzuto is fucking a genius, man. I think a lot of those guys are brilliant. And I don't think I ever really said that publicly. And I wanted to kind of say that because I had a lot of people like whenever I announced this, I had a lot of people like, "Are you gonna fucking roast this guy? Whatever the fuck are you gonna do this?" And I'm like, I just thought that was disgusting fucking behavior, and I wanted to own that. I think outside of jokes and jest, I think the point has been such a staple in the community for throughout my childhood. And I'm an old man now, I guess, but I'm saying throughout my childhood, it's been such a staple. And a lot of those guys, like, I got to know, like Tom and a lot of these other guys, became like close. Tom became a pretty close friend of mine.
Dude, Tom West, I got a real quick Tom West story, real quick.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was a promotions guy at the radio station. That's where I started. The guy giving out T-shirts and CDs at the table when you see at a gas station or something. And we were at the Washington Fair, okay, in Washington, Missouri, and we were down there for a fair. And it was like the event. We were supposed to be there from 1 to 3, and it's 12:30, and Tom West is nowhere to be found. Tom West is lost. Tom West cannot be reached on his cell phone. We don't know where Tom is. So it's like. And this is a fair. It's not like it's at a gas station. We can't come back next Friday. The fair is over, you know, and they want to promote ticket sales. So we're doing this. So the engineer, God rest his soul, guy Ronnie McCutcheon's one of the greatest guys ever. He looks at me and he goes, "You ready?" And I go, "For what?" Thinking he's gonna say, "It's time to pack up and go." And he goes, "Well, if Tom ain't here, it's you." And I went, "What?" And this is, I mean, dude, I mean, I was just out of college, like had no intention of like being on the air yet. Like this was my foot in the door. I was there for a couple months. Time comes, they hand me the mic. I do the worst promo I think I've ever done in my life. It's supposed to be a minute. I think it was 41 seconds. I was like, "Hey, we're the point, and this is a carnival, and there's some rides there and a funnel cake, and we're in Washington. I'm from the point." And it was like, next. Tom West comes running up, and he's like, "Let's hope you get better." That was one of the first things he ever said to me. I'm like, "All right, man. All right, man. You weren't funny here, dude." I got thrown into it. But, man, Tom West was one of the best people on the planet. That dude partied hard, but that dude loved even harder, man. And, you can't talk about Tom without talking about Jeff. And, for a guy being almost 20 years older than me, that dude was my all-time best friend, man. That dude was my best friend. I think it was pretty obvious we were the closest on the show. His death really, really messed me up more than I thought it messed me up. It was tough. But dude, there is Tom West and Jeff Burton are two names that St. Louis radio would not be where it is today and the position that it's in today without those two names in the mix. And personal opinions aside, whatever you may think about Tom and Jeff, those two guys did it. They did it right. They did it during a time we needed it. It was almost like the 99 home run, steroid era. That saved baseball, man. Those two dudes had a real big part in saving radio, brother. They really did. And the fact that they're not here anymore is it sucks, and it's a shame, but their influence will be felt in this area and on the airwaves forever, brother.
No, it's funny. It's funny that like I wasn't as close to Jeff, but that was definitely a sad thing. Like I used to prank Tom as a kid, and then I ended up being on his radio show a lot on the Viper and stuff. We used to get so fucking drunk and just talk shit and stuff when he was on the Viper, and like I have a feeling he just would have laughed when he heard if you would have known that when he died, I fucking cried when that motherfucker died. Like, it was so fucking sad to me. Like whenever like Tom, I heard about Tom like from his wife and stuff. That fucked me up because I was pretty close to that guy. I would call him and he'd give me good advice and shit like that. And I'd jump on his show and we'd get fucking trashed and jump on everybody else's show on the Viper, just drinking fucking vodka all day and shit, and like chain smoking everybody else's cigarettes and shit. And that guy was a fucking legend. And like so was Jeff was a legend too. I just wasn't as close. I didn't like you were close with Jeff. I feel like I didn't have that experience with him personally, other than as a fan of like the show and stuff like that. I had more of a consumer relationship with him, but Tom was one of my good friends. I felt like, and I talked to him a lot. Like, he was a brilliant dude that just wanted to have fun all the fucking time. And then, I mean,
Absolutely.
The fucking world's gonna miss both those motherfuckers. And St. Louis became a little bit fucking darker the days those guys fucking died. And they both
sure
fucking
did. A little less funny, man. A little less funny. Man. I remember at the we did a tribute to Jeff. We did it, with the show and had some bands play. And I remember one of the very last things Riz said was, when Jeff died, the world became a little less funny. And it did. And it really, truly did.
It did, man. That was so fucked up that they both had to die young and shit. And that was a really fucked up time. Let's end on that super sad note.
Hey, man, let's talk about some of the real shitty times.
Let's end on the worst fucking part of what happened. No, but that was I remember him just just hitting golf balls with that motherfucker like at the Viper into the fucking lake and shit. And then like Tom was a fucking legend, man. I miss that dude, and Jeff was too. I just didn't know him that well, and like that was a fucked up time. And like thank you for like I said, going backwards in your career and being here and taking time to throw some charity around to the podcast world.
Get out of here, brother. Get out of here, man. I'm glad we worked this out, man, and we were able to do this. And again, like I said, brother, I had a great time doing this. I'd be happy to jump back on with you and chat again, man. And this was a lot of fun. To be honest with you, Anthony, this is the first time I've like publicly done anything like this. So like, this is the first time I've done everything. And I know, you reached out a while back and I don't necessarily know if I thought I was ready. I don't necessarily think I was, but now is a time where, I'm ready, dude. And I appreciate you, bringing me on and giving me that opportunity to talk about it and do so in a respectful manner. And I really appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me.
No, what it means a lot. You came on here, and I saw that you hadn't done any press yet, and kind of come back, and I wanted to give you that platform to kind of do that, and I kind of and there's a couple people reaching out about co-hosts, and I wanted to just address this without people talking over and stuff, and I wanted to give you your time. It really pissed me off seeing all that, and and what makes me laugh, we'll end on something kind of funny. The last comment here is good morning, good morning, sir. And then I'm from India, like so. Yeah. Okay. Good morning to India.
Good morning.
Good morning to India. That's so funny. Well, God bless you, man. I hope you continue to kill
Thanks,
it,
man.
bro.
I put this on like a TikTok video I made the other day, and I've been telling everybody about this. I cannot say thank you enough to everybody that has liked a single post I've made, listened to the podcast, sent me a positive message, said hello at anywhere. Even if I'm out at the mall, you say hey or give me a fist bump or whatever. I cannot be more thankful than that, because you don't have to be here, but the fact that you are means the absolute world to me. So I really appreciate that. And I can't wait to continue to show people who I am and physically show them who I am and give people every opportunity to have no reason to dislike me. And that's what I'm doing, man. And so thank you to everybody that's been supportive. Thank you, Anthony, for your support. And again, being that ear when I needed it. You don't know how much that meant to me, brother. And I really appreciate that.
Well, yeah, thank you for coming on here, man. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We got a couple thousand cross-platform for watching this, and thousands will watch this later. I appreciate everybody watching this, because it would be fucking delusional without you guys watching this. This would be a Zoom call. This would be fucking nothing without people watching.
We could have done this 5 seconds over text messages if that was the case. We could have done this. I could be playing WWE 2K24 right now, man.
We should have been streaming that while we're talking. We should have been playing video games while we're talking.
I'm terrible. I'm horrendous.
Well, thank you, brother, for coming on here, and we'll have you back at some point. And if you guys are watching this right now, tomorrow we have some of the Battlehawks on. Because they just made the playoffs, so we're gonna do that at
Kaka's Law, baby. Kaka's Law.
I love St. Louis. It's God's favorite city, and if you're not from here, you're missing out. You're missing out a lot. And I appreciate you, Tony. I'm gonna get out of here and go live my life as well.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.